Hello, everyone. Wow. Can I just say, wow. Look around you. What an amazing group. What an amazing audience. How many people were here for Susan's talk? The lady before me. Oh, wonderful. Did you love her? Yes. Oh, do you want to just take her home? Yeah. I absolutely adore Susan, and she let me know that she shared a little bit with you about her and mine connection, and how I'm hoping she told you that she taught my children music. Yes, and they still love her and absolutely adore her. And then she took a courageous step into deciding to do something a little bit different than what she had been doing, and decided to take my healer's course, the Confident Healer, and then also went through my intuitive energy massage certification training. And to that has added aromatherapy and essential oils and her musical background. And she has created such an incredible healing offering, healing modality. She's going to go into the stratosphere with this. What is so amazing is that this was her first time doing this show. Could you tell? Because she has such a beautiful presence to begin with, and she has such amazing confidence in what she's doing. And how she got there was by following her intuition. Even though many things in her life said, this is not a smart move. Why would you leave something that you know, that people know you by, that you're really good at, that you've spent decades learning how to be a worldwide expert in? Why would you leave all of that to do something different? To do something out there, alternative, metaphysical, spiritual. The healer's path is not necessarily the easiest path to take for a number of reasons. First of all, in our society, it is alternative still. The kinds of practitioners that you're seeing upstairs, the modalities that people are creating, the services that they're bringing to you on that spiritual and energetic level, this is not mainstream here in Canada or North America yet. But I want to share with you another story about Andrea. How many of you know Andrea? You've seen her flitting around upstairs. She's the organizer of this incredible event. 10 years we've been doing this. 10 years ago, I was walking through the mall with my brand new cell phone, and it rang. And I was so excited. Oh, it works. But I didn't recognize the name. Andrea, who's that? So I said, hello. And she introduced herself. She said she was a psychic medium. She'd found me online. I had a one-page website at the time. I was just stepping into this as my work, coming from banking. Slightly different. And she said to me, I want to create a community of like-minded individuals who are interested in exploring healing, psychic phenomenon, creativity. Do you want to be a part of it? And without even stopping to think, I said, yes. Yeah, how do we do this? 10 years ago, this was tiny. And here we are a decade later, and the number of people who are willing to step forward and say, I'm intuitive, I'm psychic, I see ghosts. I want to be a healer. I felt energy. I see auras. I talk to spirits. How many people in the room feel comfortable having that kind of conversation with others? Especially here, right? How many people feel comfortable having that conversation outside of here? Yeah, it's a little bit. What if I told you that everybody is intuitive? What if I told you that everybody is psychic? That it is actually our birthright. It is one of our foundational and fundamental communication systems that we have between each other and between the environment that we live in. The ability to sense, feel, smell, hear, touch, intuit subtle energies that make up the world around us. And what if I told you you don't actually have to work really hard to be intuitive or psychic? Because it's natural to you. Because you do it every single day. Many of my students come to me confused because they're having all of these kinds of experiences that we just mentioned, and they don't know what to do about it. They don't know what to do with it. And they come to me because they believe that I can help them with that. And the first thing I tell them is, it's you. There is nothing that I can do for you to make you more intuitive or more psychic. And there's nothing I can do to take those experiences away from you if you don't like them. I can't do that for you, but you can do it for you, and I can help you to teach you the tools and techniques that I use that have been successful in helping me not hear the fight between the husband and wife over the breakfast cereal as he's crossing the street. And I can share with you the tools and techniques that I have learned to keep me grounded when I do this work. Because one of the biggest complaints or concerns that people have when they start to realize that they are having these intuitive experiences is the fear of not knowing, like I said, not knowing what to do with them, but then also not knowing how to help others with them, right? Think about being intuitive for a moment. What does that mean to you? What do you think of when you think of intuitive?
Clarity.
Okay, who said that? Clarity, yes, clarity, excellent. Okay, what else?
Knowing.
Tuning in, knowing, yeah. Instinct.
Listening to your body.
Listening to your body, yeah. Your body is one of your best tools for being intuitive, for working in your intuition, absolutely. And basically, intuition is common sense. Truth. Truth, yeah. It's not rocket science. What are you going to have for dinner? Chicken or beef? There's always one. Salad. What about the question, what is in my highest good for me to have for dinner right now? Chicken or beef or fish? If we had 3 hands, we could put a third hand in here. Chicken, fish, or beef. Which do you feel drawn to? Right? That's your body telling you what it requires. Your job is to decide if you're going to listen to it or not. We have this wonderful monkey mind. At least I have a monkey mind. Anybody else? Natter, 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 natter. No, don't do that. No, do this. You should do this. Blah, blah, blah. What if you get past the monkey mind and you tune into the body mind? But I don't have chicken in the fridge. But my body wants chicken. Well, there's a solution to that. It's really simple. You go to the grocery store and you buy chicken. That's it. That's how complicated it has to be. Now, there are levels of intuition. There are levels of psychic experience. And when I'm talking about going back to the basics, which is the title of this talk, it's in that I want to reiterate how simple and how simple it can be. It is to have intuitive knowing. What may not be so simple is getting past the doubts that show up for us. Did I really see that out of the corner of my eye? Did I actually see that person's aura? Gosh, I just said something and it seemed to land and they seemed to think it was right, but was it right? Those are the doubts that come in. That's fine. Those doubts are perfectly normal. They're part of healthy skepticism. And any time you're going to delve into intuition or psychicness, I encourage you to be skeptical in that you continue to ask questions of the experience that you're having. Not the validity of the experience that you're having, but of the experience that you're having. For example, the fridge makes a funny noise at night. Okay, it could be Aunt Matilda, because she always went to the fridge at night, and maybe that's her going in and checking for her midnight snack. Or the fridge needs to be fixed. So check if the fridge needs to be fixed first, so you don't end up ruining Thanksgiving dinner. And then once you move past what is an obvious, in front of you, rational explanation, then move into the mystery. Then move into the curiosity. Okay, the fridge made a noise. It is Thanksgiving dinner, and I don't want to lose my turkey, so I'm going to get my fridge fixed, and lo and behold, the fridge is now fixed. But if the fridge hadn't made a noise that I paid attention to, I would not have gotten my fridge fixed. And Thanksgiving dinner would be ruined. It's a really simple, straightforward, grounded example of paying attention to the symbol or the clue or the key that shows up for you, and then acting on it. At the same time, we're having Thanksgiving dinner, and I put out an extra seat, and I don't realize I've done it until we're all sitting down, and someone says, "Hey, that's where Aunt Matilda always sat." Oh, Aunt Matilda, what a great sense of humor. Through a process of events, we get to the psychic experience. That again, if I had dismissed it out of hand, we would not necessarily have made that connection. At the very least, my fridge is fixed. But then I can take it into the next realm, which is the mystery realm. So what I'm saying is, start with the rational explanation first, because we do live in a very physical world, and there's lots of things that need our attention in this physical world. And none of that is necessarily mysterious. And then from there, go into curiosity. Well, maybe it means something more. But try not to get hooked into having it need to be something more than the refrigerator just needs to be fixed. Now, one of the things that I described in the workshop description is that I wanted to share with you some of the language of intuition. So here we're talking about having these intuitive experiences, but how do you describe them? How can you communicate them to somebody else? And what language can you use to put into context the experiences that you're having? I'm going to share with you right now some of the very first teachings that my students of the Confident Healer receive in the very first workshop that we do, which is called Intuitive Development. How many people are familiar with the clairs? Who knows what I mean by that? Okay, somebody shout out an example of a clair, please. Yes, clairaudience, clairsentience. What was the other one? Clairvoyant. Yes, nice. Let's go through these quickly. Some of them we'll spend a bit more time on to put your experiences into context. And if some of these resonate for you and you think, oh, that's what that was, please feel free to put your hand up and share with us what that experience was for you. So the first one we're going to look at is clairvoyance. What does that mean? Voyance. It's clair vision. All right, so clair in French means clear, and then we add the addition to it. So clairvoyant is clair seeing. And these are experiences such as seeing something out of the corner of your eye, such as having a vision come in to your mind that you haven't created. It's just shown up. A lot of the people who are upstairs today who are doing channelings and readings are working with clairvoyance, and they're seeing things and they're sharing those things with you. So it's as much as seeing something right in front of you, whether they are in corporeal form or not, whether they're spirit or physical, as it is about what you see here with your third eye or with your inner mind. Okay? And clairvoyance is one that we're pretty familiar with, right? What about clairaudience? Somebody yelled that one out. Clair hearing. So are we hearing things that other people aren't hearing? Are we hearing things that other people are hearing? What are we hearing when we are working with clairaudience? You guys are a clairaudience. See what I did there? I love puns. Maybe there's a clair puns. Let's add that one there. So hearing strains of music that nobody else is hearing is an example of clairaudience. Or hearing someone's voice when they're not there, whether they are deceased or just someplace other than that, would be another example of clairaudience. And also hearing messages for people. Okay, I know Manhattan Medium, I think she does this. I'll have to admit I've never watched the show, but I keep hearing about it. Stands in line and then tells the person in front of her that she's received a message. Have I got that right? Okay. Oh, Long Island Medium, thank you. I don't know, there's a lot of them out there. I personally teach my students not to do that. If you hear something for someone that you are not sitting in a session with or giving guidance to, that you have been asked to provide for them, shut up. It's not your place. This is my personal opinion. You can have a different opinion. That's utterly and completely and totally fine. I don't believe it's my job to give somebody information that I'm not prepared to then spend the next 20 minutes or half hour or hour helping them with, right? And I used to hear stuff all the time. I literally was sitting in my car at the intersection and a guy walks by and I hear this fight in his head that he and his wife had that morning about the cereal, and who left the milk out that night before and the milk was warm, something like that. And why am I hearing this? This is not my business. He's not asking me to help him with this. He's just repeating it in his head and I'm picking it up. And that was when I started to learn tools of how to keep myself grounded, so that instead of every single conversation coming at me that I could do nothing about, I channeled my energy into the sessions that I would hold with somebody who was paying me to be that guidance counselor for them, that spiritual counselor for them, that teacher for them. That's when I really started doing my work, was when I really didn't want to hear the voices anymore. And quick side note, if the men in white jackets ask you if you're hearing voices, what do you say? No. Good, thank you. How about clairsentience? Clear feeling. Clairsentience. Clairsentience. And clairempathy, clairsentience and clairempathy work with one another. Clairsentience is about feeling the feelings, all the feels, as my daughters would say. It's about walking into a space and going, oh God, what was that? Or walking into space and going, oh, this feels really good. And it's also about picking up on what other people are feeling, right? Clairempathy, right? Yes, clairempathy, thank you, is about feeling the physical sensations of what somebody else is experiencing. The nausea, the sore knee, the headache. I had someone come up to me earlier today, one of the many beautiful people that I've been connecting with today, and as soon as I started talking to her, I felt this stabbing pain in my shoulder. Now, I do have some shoulder issues, I'll be honest about that. So I thought, okay, maybe that's just me, but wow, that came on really fast. And then I asked her, have you got anything going on here in your shoulder, up here on the right side, masculine side? Maybe some mother issues around masculinity? And she said, yeah. That's an example of clairempathy, feeling the physical. And you can do it as well with landscape. You can feel. I went up to Port Renfrew and I did my training for my energy healing, my energy medicine course, and I walked the forest that had been clear cut back in the 1960s and not replanted. Yes, what this lady over here just did. Oh, it hurt. The hillside was just covered with bleached stumps and wood that wasn't cleaned up, and it felt empty and it felt barren, and I felt like I wanted to put my hands on it and just fill it with energy and seeds. And I don't know why it hasn't grown back after all this time, but it hasn't. So if you walk into a place and you get that kind of physical sensation, that's the empathy part, the clairempathy. And you hear a lot of people talking about being empaths or being highly sensitive. It's all part of the same thing. And what I'm giving you here is a language that you can use to describe it to other people in this room. Probably not in the bank lineup, but then you never know, right? How about claircognizance? Clear knowing and clear recognition as well. It's recognizing that person from across the room and going, where do I know you from? Haven't we met before? And she says, no, I have no idea who you are, you strange lady. And I say, it must be from another lifetime then. But it's that immediate recognition, right? Or you walk into a space, like you go to India or you go to England or you go to South America and you stand on the soil and you think, oh, thank God I'm home. That's claircognizance, clear recognition, clear knowing. And it's something that we use a lot when we're doing past life work, is looking for resonance, when you feel drawn to something or feel connected to something. Now, did somebody say clairaugustance? Yeah. So this one is clear tasting. Your tongue, now correct me, is it the largest or second largest organ in the body? Second largest. So the heart's the largest, tongue is the second largest. Doesn't it make sense? Skin. Doesn't it make sense then that you would use this as a tool, as a way for your higher self or spirit or whomever to communicate through you to somebody else? Can you think of an example of how clairaugustance would work? Yes. Yes, that's a great one. Maybe if you're trying to figure out if you should eat particular food. So what do you think would happen if you're trying to decide what you should eat? Yeah. Yeah, so the ones you shouldn't eat would taste bad, and the ones you should eat would be all yummy and juicy, and you just can't wait until you can have that. Definitely. I've had it work for me in sessions with clients where I'm suddenly tasting spaghetti in my mouth, and I haven't had spaghetti in years. And I say to her, spaghetti, I'm tasting spaghetti. Oh, my grandmother used to make the most amazing spaghetti. Boom, grandma's here. Okay, grandma knows that granddaughter loved her spaghetti, gives me the sensation of spaghetti in my mouth so that I can then say to my client, who made spaghetti for you all the time, right? Because it's not enough for me just to say, I think your grandmother's in the room. That's not going to necessarily connect. There are lots of grandmothers in the room, by the way, both physical and non-physical. She wants something that she can connect to, that is specific to her. So that's often where clairaugustance comes in. And the other one is clairtangence, or not clairtangence, pardon me, clairoflaction. Say that 10 times fast. That's about smelling. Yeah, it's about what you smell. So you smell the perfume. Who's had that experience? How about cigar? Yeah, very common. Specific types of smells like garlic, or what's another one? Roses. Yeah. Very specific things that remind you immediately of someone or something. Right? Clairtangency. Touch. Yeah, otherwise known as psychometry. That's when you pick something up and whoa, you just get a picture of whoever owned that. It's one that governments are very curious about. That one in searching for missing people. And bending spoons for some reason. Why? Why do we want to bend spoons? Although I guess psychometry would fall into that category. If you can bend a spoon with your mind, then you would be using clairtangency. Claircognition. Now we talked about clear resonance and you said clear knowing. There is its own category, which is known as claircognizance, and that's the clear knowing. That's when you just know something. You don't know how you know it. You don't know why you know it. You've just had the most amazing conversation with somebody about, I don't know, brain surgery, and you've never done brain surgery, but somehow you know exactly what they're talking about and you can speak to it. That would be an example of clear knowing. Or picking up an instrument that you've never played before in your life, and suddenly you're playing Mozart. That's that clear knowing. And many of the people upstairs are working with that skill when they're sitting with you and they're doing those readings. They just know. They don't know anything you don't know. Let's be really clear about that. And this is something I tell all my clients. I don't know anything that you don't already know when you come and see me. Because you are your best expert. You know yourself better than anybody does. And I'm only going to tell you things that you've forgotten. And you're going to have that aha moment. All right? But I don't know you. You know you best. So it's not about reading minds. It's about recognizing what's being held in the energetic body. There's two more that I want to share with you that you may or may not have heard of. And if you have, awesome. I'm super excited for that. Clear spiritus. Has anyone heard of that one before? This came up in a workshop. One of my students put her hand up and said, what about when we hear messages from spirit? What do we call that? Because it's slightly different than clairaudience. It's specific to a message from spirit. or God or goddess or whoever you pray to or who you relate to at the divine level. I thought that was beautiful. I'd never heard it before either. So we added it to the list. Clear spiritus. Would you be willing, anyone in the room who's had the experience of hearing from God, raise their hand? Yeah. I suspect it's more common than we realize. Our own inner voice has its own sound, right? Our own thinking mind has its own sound. And then our guides or our energy beings or our higher self, however you want to describe that information that feels like it isn't just us, that has its own voice as well, right? I know for me it comes in really quickly. If it's something that spirit guide or higher self is talking to me about, there's no time to get into the words of it. It just shows up. Messages from the divine, that's something very different. That, I don't even know that we have words to describe it, but the best that I could say is it's a warmth, it's a peace, it's a joy, it's an infusion. There's no words. It's all of this. It's all of this. And I believe that every single person in this room and every single person upstairs and all 8 billions of us have these experiences. We just may not know that that's what it is that's happening if we don't have the language for it. And then finally on this wonderful list is clair animus. What do you think that one means? Yes, animals. It's receiving guidance and information from animals, from the environment, from the trees, from the water. It's a shamanic connection to the world around us and all of the critters that are in that world, that are outside of our human experience, is clair animus. And somebody told me there is an animal communicator here today, at least one of them. This would be the clair that person is working with, if they wanted to name it. So with all of those definitions or concepts, where is it that you think all of that happens? I'll give you a clue. Yes. The body. And as somebody mentioned earlier, the body is the place where all of that information is going to come into through your 5 senses. Okay? What your 6th sense is all of your 5 senses working at the same time. It's your eyes, it's your ears, it's your sense of taste, it's your sense of smell, it's your sense of touch, all within this beautiful physical body. And the amazing thing is that your body will never lie to you. Now, whether you trust your body is something completely different. You can come and see me about that. We'll have some counseling sessions on that. But this beautiful body that you have, this incredible temple, this holiest of holies, is what takes you through this entire human journey. And without it, well, we would just be plasma or, I don't know, non-corporeal. We wouldn't be human. And I believe that we come into this symbiotic relationship with this physical body from our soul body in order to have the experiences that are uniquely available to us here on planet Earth. What is many people's relationship with their body? How would you describe how many people relate to their body? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Yeah. Detached, disconnected, loathing, don't love it. They've had unhealthy or negative experiences of other people receiving their body. Or they've been told from the time they were really young that they just weren't good enough, that this body just isn't good enough. And there are even traditions out there that punish the body for being the body. This is where sin is housed, because this body has desires. It wants to feel good. Whoever came up with the idea that that was a bad thing? That's a rhetorical question, but I'd really like to have a conversation with that person. What if this body, these bodies that you're in, that you chose to have in this lifetime, became your greatest ally your best gift, and the most important way in which you showed up in the world. And not because we're trying to conform to some idea of beauty externally, but because we understand the gift that this body has for us in all of the ways in which it holds and supports the soul's interest in coming in and being human. And having experiences that the soul doesn't get to have when it's not in a physical body. What if you all decided from this moment forward to treat your body as the most sacred part of your whole experience? Feel that for a moment. Isn't that amazing? Like, what if I just loved this elbow so much? I really do. I love you. I love you. It's the best elbow ever. Oh, you too. You're also the best elbow ever. What if you were to stand in front of your mirror without anything on except the skin that keeps everything together, and look at every single part of that body and just say, I love you. I just love you. You're not perfect. Yeah, we've all got warts. We've all got scars. None of that makes us who we are. It's all just part of our story. Right? If you want to live an intuitive life, and I mean wake up in the morning and every part of your day you trust the flow of it, you trust your decisions, you trust the choices that you make, you trust the relationships that you have, what would that be like? If you want to do that, the most important thing you're going to need to do is heal the relationship that you have with your body. Because if you can't trust your body to tell you the truth, you're going to doubt. You're going to be in a lot of doubt. And I don't mean skepticism like we talked about earlier. I mean that kind of gut-crippling doubt where you just think, everybody else has got it figured out but me. And if that's what you're in, you're doing the world an enormous disservice. Because the world wants you and needs you to show up with everything you came here to share with other human beings. Right? Who are you serving by doubting and by being little and by not trusting yourself and your decisions? Now, it doesn't mean that every decision you're going to make is going to be an excellent decision. It may not be the best decision ever. But what if in trusting your body and learning the way that your body is talking to you through those 5 senses, what if that could become the basis for all of your interactions with other people and with yourself as well? Do you know that your body has its yes and its no? Okay, so you've heard of the body being a pendulum, right? Have you heard about this? So this is a pendulum. I was going to take it off, but I don't get caught on this. I can do it from here, actually. Okay, this would be fun. Okay, so show me my yes. Is it doing it? I can't actually see it. Okay, show me my no. Is it going the other way? Okay. Show me my no. Oh, here, can you see it? Show me my no. Is it going back and forth? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Show me my I don't know, or we're asking the wrong question. Is it going in a circle? Cool, hey? Isn't that neat? What's happening is that the electromagnetic vibration of my yes, my no, or my maybe comes through this beautiful body and affects the swing of this pendulum. This is the necklace. A pendulum can be anything that hangs on a weight and can move back and forth. And your body has its own yes or no when you're working with something like a pendulum. So my yes and no may not be the same as your yes and no, and I encourage you to practice. There's a million beautiful pendulums up there. If you feel drawn to using this as an intuitive tool, then here's the place to get it. But really anything can be a pendulum. I've used a pen on the end of a bunch of elastic bands when I was at a cell phone store and I didn't have a necklace on because I wanted to see which would be the best cell phone. And the poor guy, right? I'm holding it up. Is it in my highest good to pick this cell phone? I left it with him, and when I came back a week later, because I don't know, something going on with my phone, he pulls it out and he says, I've been practicing. It's really cool. But you don't even need that because you've got this beautiful body, right? So for most people, a yes is what brings you forward and a no pushes you back. Why do you think that is? Attraction versus, yeah. That's right. That's exactly it. So think of it like this. Your best friend says, hey, you want to come and help me move this weekend? And you go, yeah, sure, I'd love to. What if you said no? No, I really don't actually, because look, I'm like way over here on the other side of the room. And the yes is what we move to. And we tend to move towards that which we are interested in. That's intriguing, that's compelling, that we're excited about, that's juicy. We move towards it. Have you ever been in conversation and you're talking to someone and you're just like this with each other? You're like, oh my God, I'm so into you. I'm so into what you're saying. I love this energy. But you know what it's like when someone walks into the room and you're going like this? Oh God, stay away from me. Now, society and morals and all of that and decorum dictates that we have to be polite, and okay, yes, there is reason for that and need of that. And there's also reason and need to be true to ourselves. So learning to use your body as a pendulum, as an intuitive tool, not only connects you on a deeper level to your body, but it also helps you to be in your truth of what it is that you need. And it can help you to learn how to say, no, thank you. That can be a tough one, right? Right? I mean, you could be the most intuitive person in the world, but to say no, because you know it's not right for you, but to feel like you have to say yes. I personally think that's where a lot of illness comes from. Saying yes when we want to say no, or saying no when we want to say yes. And that gets caught up in our bodies. Yes?
I'm just wondering, how do you know it's a no versus like I'm scared to do it?
Good question. Yeah. Well, why would you be scared to do something? Just out of curiosity.
Failure.
Okay. And what happens if you fail? Yeah. Right. I mean, sometimes you might. Let's be honest. But so the question is, what if how do you know if it's a no, or how do you know if you're just afraid? When you get out of the way, the monkey mind gets out of the way, and you get centered and grounded in your body, and you ask the question from a place of, is it in my highest good at this point in time to take that new job, even though I'm scared shitless? I don't know if we have to bleep that out or not, but even though I'm totally scared, is it in my highest good? Because when you ask the question from that perspective, the thinking mind actually gets out of the way because it doesn't get to have an opinion, right? You go straight to the most immediate and first answer. So if the body goes yes, okay. Then the next step is free will. Are you going to choose to follow the yes or to follow the no? We all have free will. Every second of every day, we are in a state of free will. Nobody, and I believe this so firmly, nobody can tell us what to do or how to do it unless we allow them to and we agree on some level. And we've all been there. We've all been there. Stayed in the job too long, stayed in the relationship too long, said yes, we wanted to say no, didn't follow the dream because. We've all been there. There is no judgment around that. That's the beautiful thing about free will. You make a choice, and then you have the experience of that choice. So what if we took the pressure off intuition, we stopped making it be the thing that has to give us the right answer, and then we beat ourselves up if we don't follow it, or we think we've done something wrong? And what if we moved into the concept and idea that there are no mistakes? That everything has purpose, and everything has reason. Even the really, really tough, painful, awful stuff. What if we could allow ourselves the grace and the space to be in our experiences To trust that those experiences are going to bring us something and bring us somewhere. Right? So then there isn't this big pressure to be right with everything that we do. And then our intuition can start to flow. Just flow. I had another client up earlier today. Oh, wow, was she ever in her body? It was amazing. Every single question. Okay, so should I take the IAM course right now? Yes. Okay, great. Should I do Confident Healer? Nope, not right now. And she just was in this beautiful dance with her body. Is this the essence that I need? Yep. Okay, body move towards it. Is this the essence that I need? Nope. And what was so brilliant and beautiful was how she didn't stop to think about it. She trusted what her gut was telling her. She trusted what her body was telling her. The question about how do I know if I'm just afraid or not is a really good question, because much of the time that's where we reside, in fear. The fear of failure, the fear of disappointing somebody, letting somebody down. And we allow a lot of that to govern the choices that we make and how we show up in the world. And we allow that to get in the way of trusting our intuition and our gifts and our psychic abilities. You know, when Andrea phoned me up that day and said, hey, do you want to do this? I could have gone down a rabbit hole. Why is she calling me? How'd she find me? I've only been doing this for like a year or so. There's no way. No, I'm not going to sit in a room and be with all these people who know what they're doing. No. Thank goodness, even though I was terrified, thank goodness something propelled me before I could stop myself to say yes, to commit to doing this work, to being on this path, to participating in this way, to stepping out into the community in a bigger way, so that I could connect with all of you, so that we could have these kinds of interactions. Thank goodness I trusted my intuition. And here's a point that I'd love to make. So how many people have said, I wish I had listened, but I didn't, and here's what happened. And then there's some big dramatic story about what happened because you didn't listen. I have a theory that in some ways we're a little bit addicted to the drama. Okay, actually we're really addicted to the drama, not a little bit, full on. And not trusting our intuition, not listening to our intuition makes a really good story. And I think at an unconscious level, there may be something going on there where we are not trusting our intuition because it creates a story that we get to tell people. Because it's a lot less exciting to say, yeah, I listened to my intuition today and I didn't go in the car. Oh yeah, then what happened? Well, nothing. Oh, that's it? Well, how do you know that that's what stopped you? Well, I don't. I don't know that if I got in the car, I would have gotten that car accident on the Pat Bay Highway. But what I do know is that that was the direction I was going in. And if I got every light, I would have been right in the middle of that. And I don't want that. Been in the car accident once already, thank you. I don't need that again. I don't want that again. But that doesn't make me smarter than anybody else. It just means that my intuition kicked in big time and wouldn't let me out the door. And I found something else to do that day, and I called my friend and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. Well, she's also a student, so when I said I'm not going to make it because my intuition tells me not to, she's like, yeah, I get it. Don't come out. The whole idea about not being in the drama, about letting your intuition lead you and having that life that is easier and maybe flows better and is calmer, isn't that what we're all wanting? That's what we all say we want. Happiness, contentment, acceptance, peace. Okay, if that's what you really want, start listening to yourself. Your heart above all other voices. Your body above all other voices. How hard is it, and I use that word purposefully, how hard is it when everybody is telling you to do something and you want to do something different? Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. If you tune into your heart will always tell you what it needs. This is why your heart is your courageous heart. It's not gentle, this heart of ours. And when we step into it and when we say yes to it, then we're stepping into courage and we're stepping into vulnerability. To listen to your intuition and to follow your intuition is about being courageous, and it's equally about being vulnerable. So I have an exercise for you to do. I was going to get everyone to stand up and do the body pendulum, but we have way too many people in the room to do that. We'd be bumping into each other all over the place. But you have a gift that you were given when you came into the room. You have a card that you were given. And if you didn't get a card, please come and see me afterwards because I have lots. What you're holding in your hand is called a Healing Hearts Oracle card. And this is something that I created, that I published first on my own as self-publishing, and then created a box set through Balboa Press and Hay House. And we now have this beautiful healing set in a box set. When you come back up to my booth afterwards, you can see it and you can put your name in to enter the draw to win a copy at the end of the weekend, if you like. This is an entirely intuitive process, by the way. And talk about courageous and stepping into my heart, good Lord. The pictures that you see on the front of these cards are images of hearts, right? Have a look if you don't have one, check with your neighbor. These are all hearts that I found in nature, or that found me as I was going through a major transition in my life, stepping out of my marriage. Talk about a lot of voices telling me what not to do, right? But I needed a sign. I needed something that I could hold on to that would help me see that I was following the path, that I was listening to my heart. And it turned out to be these hearts that showed up in nature. On the back of the card, there's a message. And each card has a different message. And that message is something that I learned as I went through that process, as I opened up my heart and made really, really tough decisions from my heart. So here's the exercise that I would invite you to do. Take the card you have, show it to your neighbor, and ask your neighbor to tell you the first thing that comes into their mind about why that card is important to you. And then switch. And if you're doing this with a stranger, even better. Okay, so everybody bring attention back here. This is the beautiful thing about these oracle cards, and pretty much any oracle card, you could talk for hours about just one of them. What I would like to invite you to do is to take the words that the other person shared with you to heart, whether or not in the moment they landed for you. Just put them there. Just have them be here and here, because this person has given you an amazing gift. They've been brave and they've been vulnerable. They've been courageous in sharing something that came into their mind immediately for you, whether they knew you or not. They trusted their intuition. What did it feel like to do this exercise? A couple of responses. How was that? Yes? Unsure, yeah. Definitely, yeah, unnerving. Terrifying? Anyone? Here's the last story that I want to share with you. When I went down to California to do my training with Doreen Virtue, the very first day of classes, she had us turn to the person to our left and do a 5-minute reading for them. First day of a 5-day class training, and she says, okay, turn to the person on your left, tell them what you see. And the whole room exploded in this massive uproar of protest. Are you kidding me? You haven't taught us anything yet. How dare you? And people were getting all their panties in a bunch. And she said, look, just trust me. Do it. So I turned to the fellow on my left. He was really good looking, so that didn't help. And he was so sweet. He was terrified too. And I said, okay, well, here's what I see. I see an old wooden ladder, and it's coming out of an adobe that's in the ground, and it's heading up towards the light. And he burst into tears. And he said, I know exactly what that means. Wow. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't need to know what it meant. I didn't need to be right. I just needed to share. So here's what I would like to leave you with. I want to go back to the very beginning. You are all intuitive. You are all psychic. Let's just get that out of the way right off the bat, okay? Please trust yourselves. Please trust that you can make wise choices for yourself using all the tools, using all the language, using your body, going into your knowing. Trust this. And the promise that I can make to you is that if you do, your life will be easier. 100%. And a lot more fun, too. Because it turns out there's really good bragging rights when you say, I did listen to my intuition and nothing happened. It was the best thing ever. I'd like to thank you so much for being here today and for participating and for being here for all the practitioners that have come out today. They're being pretty courageous as well. And I'd like to invite you to come back up to our booth where we've got our IEM practitioners. Those are our intuitive energy massage practitioners who are giving intuitive energy massages today, 20-minute sessions for $40 or 30-minute sessions for $40. They're amazing treatments, amazing treatments. Also, bring your card up. Did you just have one? Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Bring your card to the table, and my students will take you a little bit deeper with it if you would like to know more about why that card has shown up for you today. And if you have any other questions, I'll be there, and I'll be so happy to talk to you. Thank you so much, everybody.